one of the busiest ports in the world, welcoming more cruise lines than any other city. And this week, the island of St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands played host to 10 women's college basketball teams, all vying to be champions in paradise.
You understand.
Welcome to the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam, coming to you from the Sports and Fitness Center on the campus of the University of the Virgin Islands in Charlotte Amalie, St. Thomas. Tonight, the 2008 U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam championship game between two top 10 rivals, 5-0 number 9 ranked Duke versus 4-0 number 2 ranked Connecticut. Now, Duke won the Reef division of the St. Thomas bracket with wins over number 22 Purdue and Temple. And Connecticut won the Island Division with wins over number 4 Stanford and Old Dominion. And hello, everyone. Along with Brenda Van Langen, I'm Mark Brown. And this is a great matchup tonight, as you all know. And for Duke, their first 2 victories came courtesy of some very tough defensive efforts. As for UConn, their offense has simply overwhelmed their prior 2 opponents.
And we could talk about some specific players like Maya Moore, who's already averaging as a freshman 20 points and 8 rebounds a game, or Tina Charles, who's just been dominating in the post down here in the Paradise Jam. But the most impressive aspect of the UConn Huskies game has been their teamwork, their passing of the basketball, the sharing, the way they set their teammates up. And what a beautiful pass here to show you from the other night's game from Mel Thomas over to Maya Moore, the alley-oop. The Huskies are averaging 26 assists on 36 field goals per game. And within the offense here, Kylie McLaren with a terrific backdoor look to Maya Moore. And Maya Moore gives as good as she gets with 6 assists versus ODU to get to the championship game. And they've effectively used the high post to set up their offense. Another great pass from McLaren, this time to Kaylana Green, who's averaging 12.5 points in the Paradise Jam. They shot 72% in the second half of Old Dominion, and they will need excellent passing against the very tough Duke defense tonight.
Absolutely. And with for Duke, Abby Wayner's ankle injury has kind of created an all-hands-on-deck approach. A 12-man rotation, 6 now different starting lineups for all their games this year, but one consistent force up front has been Shantae Black.
Right, and Duke fans will be happy to know that Abby Wayner will be back on the court tonight and will be starting in tonight's game. She's been out for 4 games with an injury, but Shantae Black in those 4 games has been averaging in double figures, the leading scorer on this team. She was out all of last year with an injury, and the 6'5 junior center steps in to replace Duke's all-time leading shot blocker, Allison Bales. Black is leading the team in rebounding and scoring, and against Temple, she was strong inside, scoring all 13 of her points in that decisive second half. And they've had 5 different scorers be the leading scorers in their 5 games, so that if UConn is able to shut down Black, a lot of different players can step up.
Well, it's time to determine the 2008 U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam Women's Champion. Will it be Duke or UConn? 40 minutes of elite women's college basketball will tell the story. The opening tip coming up. And welcome back to the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam, the women's championship game, Duke versus Connecticut. And 2 great coaches involved in this matchup, and we had a chance to talk with each of them about their styles of play.
Well, we've got enough experience, I think. We got 4 seniors that I think have been pretty good for us. Keisha Soigné, Mel Thomas, Sade Houston, and Brittany Hunter, played a lot of basketball, so I think they give us some stability. I think the 2 freshmen that we've added, Lauren Dixon and Maya Moore, give us, a lot of energy. And I think we got a good mix inside with, Tina Charles is really good inside. Renee Montgomery's really good on the perimeter. I think we've got a pretty good blend, and hopefully that'll be one of our strengths as opposed to anybody else's.
Yes, we have a very blue-collar, aggressive, tough team that defends and rebounds, and certainly has many different weapons to use on offense. But I think we're pretty consistent defensively. I'd like to think that we were hard to play against. A lot of different looks, a lot of things that we do, and I'd like us to be more physical as well.
Well, we have heard from both Gino Auriemma and Joanne P. McCauley about what they thought the keys to victory are. Now it's time for Coach Van Langen and Coach V's keys.
Well, you have two very talented teams tonight, and it's going to be a great matchup. But Duke has to have a solid start in the Paradise Jams games. They've had slow starts, a lot because Abby Wayner's been on the bench. But the transition D is so important because UConn plays such an up-tempo style. They like to push. Duke has got to get back and play their good half-court defense and win the battle of the boards. Duke has out-rebounded each of their opponents until their last game against Temple. That's something they want to get corrected, knows important tonight. We've been talking about it throughout the Paradise Jam, but UConn loves to fast break, go up tempo. Tonight they need to be full throttle and push the tempo of the game again. Now they're going to see a lot of man-to-man in this Duke Blue Devil team. However, with Joanne P. McCauley at the helm, they will also be running some matchup zones. So finding a way to bust the zone and use that good passing and cool the hot hand. There have been so many players contributing for Duke. UConn has to recognize which is the player that has the hot hand. It may be Abby Wayner, it may be Shantae Black, it may be somebody else, but they've got to find the player and shut them down who's contributing the most.
Well, both teams with great depth tonight as we look at the starting lineups. And for the Blue Devils, it's great news for them with Abby Wayner back in the starting lineup for the first time since the first game of the season. 6 games, 6 different starting lineups for them. Gino Auriemma's Huskies have been much more stable with the starting lineup. Brittany Hunter getting the start up front along with Kalena Green, Tina Charles, Mel Thomas, and Renee Montgomery. So talking with Joanne P. McCauley earlier this week, she clearly said she didn't know who was going to start, and to her, it wasn't that important. Here's tonight's officials: Dee Cantner, Denise Brooks-Clauser, and Angelika Suffren. Connecticut wearing their white with the national flag blue and red trim. Duke wearing their royal blue. Shantae Black will jump it up for Duke, along with Tina Charles for Connecticut. It's the 7th all-time meeting. The series dead even at 3-3, but the last 2 in spectacular fashion have been taken by Duke. They take the opening tip. Brittany Mitch with the ball, guarded by Renee Montgomery.
That last win for Duke was the game that set them up to go to the Final Four in the 06 season in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
An overtime victory that Connecticut fans will long remember, not fondly. In any event, a second opportunity here for Duke. Brittany Mitch on the wing. High post, Karim Gay rattles it down for the first basket of the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam Women's Championship game.
She did not start in the game in the semifinals or the last game Friday night, and she came through with 13 points and 12 rebounds off the bench, showing that she should be in the starting lineup.
Kalena Green over on the far wing. Now it's Montgomery on top. 6 on the shot clock, stripped away, and Black has it.
Duke comes out in the matchup zone defense, the 1-2-2 matchup, and force a turnover on the first play.
Karim Gay going to work, then kicks it out for Mitch. Black down low against Brittany Hunter. Goes to the left hand and drops it in. 4-0 Blue Devils.
Of course, Brittany Hunter, a transfer from Duke, and so Black taking it right at her inside. Hunter, it's amazing enough that she's in the game with all the knee problems she's had. This is the 3rd straight game she's been able to play, and that's highly unusual.
Cutting back door, Kalena Green took the feed from Brittany Hunter, could not get the roll. Black clears the miss.
Again, tough defense by Duke. They have been playing excellent defense, holding their opponents to 28% shooting on the year, 44 points a game.
Karim Gay missing, Smith battling for the rebound, and they will say Connecticut touched it last. Duke ball underneath.
Well, in the first round game, Duke came out and played Purdue and got down 9-0 and actually 12-2 before they went on a 17-0 run to get back and win against Purdue in the opening game.
Abby Wayner misses her first attempt after 4 games off with the ankle injury. Brittany Hunter on the block. Nice move inside. Up fake on Black. Draws the foul and will get 2 free throws.
Some good work by both these post players against each other. Nice little up fake by Hunter to get Black up in the air.
Brittany Hunter making the start again tonight. Let's look at her move.
Well, she turns around, gets the ball inside, gets Black standing up, and then a second fake. Gets Black leading in. Excellent work inside by Hunter. Hunter starting in place of Sharday Houston, who had been starting in the opening game in the Paradise Jam, but Hunter contributing both rebounding-wise, defensively, and offensively.
1 of 2 for Brittany Hunter. 3-point lead. 2:15 in to the women's final. Stepping on the line and out of bounds, Brittany Mitch.
Good team defense. Hunter stepped over and helped position as Mitch was driving.
Mel Thomas brings it across for the Huskies. Tina Charles back out for Montgomery.
And a lot of people wondered when Joanne P. McCauley came to Duke, would she bring that matchup zone that was so effective with Michigan State? And they ran a lot of man in their early games, but the switch to the matchup zone here to start in this game.
Tina Charles scores inside to cut it to 1. Tina Charles having a very strong tournament here in St. Thomas. Wanisha Smith trying to go baseline. Lost it. Pull-up jumper won't go. She's got a fairly bothersome injury on her right hand, which is, Coach Joanne P. McCauley says she's playing one-handed, basically. Charles missing. Rebound to Hunter. Back out for Thomas.
We talked about Duke needs to win the battle of the boards. When you can force UConn into a shot like that, you can't give them this kind of second chance opportunity.
Kalena Green slashing to the hole. Connecticut has their first lead.
Kalena Green was not defended by Stanford in the second half when they met in the opening game, and she took advantage and ended up scoring 15 points in that game. So recognizing when she's open has really given her some great opportunities.
Karim Gay tried the baseline reverse. Connecticut foul. It'll go against Tina Charles for her first.
Well, Karim Gay, the junior from Christ the King High School, going against her former teammate, Tina Charles, going for the reverse layup. I mean, talk about a high school team. Karim Gay's a junior this year, and she right behind her, Tina Charles, and then Lauren Dixon, the freshman on UConn's team. All 3 of those players played together on Christ the King High School team. And of course, there's a lot of other great players that have come from Christ the King, Sue Bird among them, but they've won back-to-back national championships. Karim Gay was part of that first one, and then of course Tina Charles and Lauren Dixon a part of both of them.
Well, Karim Gay missed them both at the free throw line, so the Huskies continue to lead. Mel Thomas on top, shows 3. Wanisha Smith was out there. From way out there, Renee Montgomery from NBA range puts UConn up 4.
When Renee Montgomery can hit those outside shots, complementing what Tina Charles is doing on the inside, it just makes UConn so difficult. They have so many scoring options.
Jasmine Thomas, number 5, has come off the bench for Duke, along with Crystal Thomas, who has it down in the post, goes for the jump hook. Rebound, Tina Charles. Maya Moore is at the scorer's table, ready to come in. 3 from the corner. Mel Thomas back iron. Abby Wayner on the run with a rebound. Tipped away by a hustling Mel Thomas to save a layup. And that brings us to our first timeout with 15:23 to play in the first half. The U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam women's final. It's 8-4 Huskies. 8-4 UConn over Duke. Time now to introduce the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, who's down on the sideline, Monica Jonigan. Monica?
Thanks, Mark. I'm here with the mother of Duke freshman Karima Thomas. This is Karima Christmas. This is her mother, Janita Christmas.
Well, a steal for the University of Connecticut. Karima Christmas not yet into the game for Duke, but soon will be, no doubt about that. A pull-up jumper in transition for Kalena Green. And Brenda, we're looking at a 10-0 Connecticut run.
Well, they've come out and they've solved that zone and they've moved the basketball well. And Kalena Green using her speed and quickness to get inside.
Joy Cheek also off the bench for Duke. Gives to Jasmine Thomas. Over to Crystal Thomas. Double team by Maya Moore. And she traveled.
Well, Maya Moore has been outstanding offensively, both passing the ball, offensive rebound, and scoring for Connecticut. But they're a quick double team forcing the turnover.
Third turnover of the game so far for the Blue Devils. Here's Maya Moore. Working against Jasmine Thomas, and now on top, Kalena Green. UConn quickly moving the ball around deep in the corner. Maya Moore missed the baseline jumper. Kalena Green battling for the rebound. And she is able to knock it out of bounds off of Jasmine Thomas. So another 30-second clock for the Huskies.
Yeah, early Kalena Green already with 4 points, and they're a great hustle play. Even in the zone, you got to block out. And Kalena Green, one of the best offensive rebounding guards in the country. Somebody's got to put a body on her.
Same spot where Montgomery hit from before. Another deep three, and it's 13-4, a 13-0 run.
You've got to recognize where the shooters are, and the matchup zone is intended to match up with shooters on the perimeter. So there's no reason why Montgomery should be that open.
And a foul on Maya Moore, trying to reach around Joy Cheek. First foul on the fabulous freshman from Connecticut. Out high to Jasmine Thomas. Shante Black back into the game. Wants the elbow jumper and drills it over Charles.
Nice shot by Black. She has that ability to stretch the defense, and that's big. They love the high-low pass. You've got to make them respect the passer by nailing some of those 15 to 16-foot jumpers. On the other end, we're talking about the matchup zone. Joanne P. McCauley not happy with her team to be able to recover. Weiner gets stuck inside Emily and doesn't get out there quickly enough and allows a three-pointer by Montgomery.
Turnaround jumper, 6 points for Shante Black, 6 of Duke's 8.
She is averaging almost 13 points and 7 rebounds on the year, up from even 8 points the year before she was injured.
A three of her own. Abby Weiner saved it in to Shante Black, a 16-8 Connecticut advantage. 202nd career three-pointer for Mel Thomas. Battle for the rebound. It'll stay with Duke. It'll be Emily Weiner to inbound. Emily and Abby Weiner, the sister act for Duke. And now Emily will come out. Brittany Mitch back in and will inbound for the Blue Devils.
Well, Duke has already played 9 different players here in the opening 7 minutes of the game, trying to find the right combination. I asked Joanne P. McCauley what makes your decisions as far as what you're looking for. She said, if we need defense, if we need rebounding, if we need offense, there are just different players that bring different things to the court here, and we can play a number of different positions.
Abby Weiner gives it up on top. Crystal Thomas looking inside. Now Weiner with a quick release on the three. And a good box out by Mel Thomas. It'll be an over-the-back foul on the freshman, Jasmine Thomas.
Yeah, and there's a senior working on a freshman. Jasmine Thomas is a tremendously talented freshman, and already in her young career, she's shown some outstanding things. But a bad mistake there, as the senior Mel Thomas had a very good block-out position.
First foul on Thomas. Keisha Soignier into the backcourt along with Renee Montgomery now and Mel Thomas. Bit of a three-guard alignment here for the Huskies. Tina Charles at the high post. Knocked away and stolen by Jasmine Thomas. Brittany Mitch going to bring it up. Soignier hounding her. Wanisha Smith enters inside for Shante Black. Spins to the baseline. Soignier pulls down the loose rebound. She'll push it up herself.
Great speed by Soigné. No one guards her. She pulls up at the free throw line. Black the rebound. Brittany Mitch with some great size at 6'2", but a natural guard and handles the ball quite well.
Well, of course, Duke replacing All-American Lindsey Harding, who graduated, so they have a little point guard by committee so far this year.
Mel Thomas fakes the three. Down low, Maya Moore on the baseline. Drills the jumper. It's back to a 10-point UConn advantage.
And that's some of the unselfish passing that we were talking about in the open. They just do such a good job, does UConn, moving the basketball, making the extra pass.
5 assists on 7 made baskets. Another great ratio there for Gino Auriemma's Huskies. Coming up on 11 minutes to play in the first half. Wanisha Smith steps into a three. Soigné again. Connecticut running, but Duke is back. Thomas in the corner. All the way across for Montgomery. Down low for Tina Charles. And a foul before the shot. It'll go against Joy Cheek. So with 10:51 to play in the first half, the University of Connecticut with a 10-point advantage over Duke. Well, Connecticut got down 4-0 in the opening moments, but now leads Duke 18-8 in this U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam championship game. And a bit of an anniversary, if you will, for the University of Connecticut women's basketball program. This marks the 1,000th game in program history. And Brenda, they've done an awful lot of winning, particularly in the Gino Auriemma era.
Well, there's no doubt about it. 5 national championships. And this group of seniors has that pressure right now of being the first senior class not to make it to a Final Four since 1987. So there's a lot of there's a sense of urgency and a lot of pride on the line in a very successful program. This group of seniors feeling the pressure this year.
Well, quite a bit of expectation. Beautiful pass. Kylie McLaren doing exactly what she did 2 nights ago in the second game against Old Dominion, making a beautiful bounce pass for a layup for a teammate, this case Soigné. Going the other way, Brittany Mitch can't hit. Karim Gay the rebound, and on the floor, this one will go against UConn and Keisha Soigné.
Now, that's just a terrific hustle play by Karim Gay, because Keisha Soigné and McLaren were right there to get the rebound, just looked at each other, and Karim Gay stepped in and got the offensive board and picked up the foul.
Karim Gay off the inbound. Into the lane and back out again. Shante Black drills the jumper. What a first half for Shante Black. She's got 8 points, 8 of Duke's 10.
Well, she didn't start scoring until the second half against Temple.
And Soigné buries a three, so just as soon as Duke does something, Connecticut extends their lead, and Joanne P. McCauley wants a timeout. She doesn't want this one to get away from her. Right now, the lead is 23-10.
Well, the Duke defense is just being dissected right now. It's been so effective in their first 5 games, but here Kylie McLaren, a beautiful passer, has that great step-through bounce pass. Her teammates move so well. Soigné cut to the basket. We saw so much of that. McLaren had 3 assists in the second half in their win over ODU, and then Joanne P. McCauley gets the timeout after yet another 3-point made. Connecticut 4 of 6 from 3-point range here early in the game. Even if you're in a matchup zone, you still have to cover up the shooters, and Connecticut has just been draining them from long distance.
13-point lead is the largest of the game for the Huskies as we're just under the 10-minute mark to play in the first half. High post, Karim Gay. Abby Waynard can't hit the jumper. Rebound goes to Montgomery. Has no numbers, will wait for her friends. Goes to the high post. Moore operating inside and draws the foul on Karim Gay. That's Gay's first.
And actually almost sort of a slow motion sort of shot by Maya Moore. She's always so decisive and powerful with her movements, but just hung up in the air, almost waiting to get the foul, but effective nonetheless.
Can't get the roll on the first free throw.
Gino Auriemma talked to us about the fact that Maya Moore, as a freshman, coming to this team of 5 returning starters, all averaging in double figures, you know, a very successful team that was 32-4 last year, Maya Moore actually brings a new level of confidence to this team. And talking with Kara Walters, of course, a star for University of Connecticut in the mid-90s, who is now the radio broadcaster for Connecticut, talked about the UConn team in '94 that was not quite there, even though they had Lobo and Walters and Jamel Elliott. But when Nikisha Sales joined them in '95, then they won the national championship. Kind of similar, they're hoping, with Maya Moore stepping in and boosting an already great team to even better heights.
Well, so far she seems to be having such effect here. We are still only in November, but in many ways, as well as Connecticut's played in their opening several games here, there's a lot to look forward to for Gino Auriemma. Off the turnover, Soigné crosses over to get in the lane, sets up McLaren from 19 feet, and a rebound, Jasmine Thomas. Thomas pushing it up, no numbers, challenges and draws the foul. It'll be a blocking foul on Keisha Soigné.
That is quick on quick. Jasmine Thomas with a little hesitation move to try to get around Soigné. You are looking at two incredibly quick players. Yeah, and Soigné just doesn't quite, it's a really close play, but just not quite quick enough. And Jasmine Thomas with a little hesitation, able to pick up the foul.
Second foul on Soigné, fourth on the team. Steal by Maya Moore off the inbound. Up ahead, Montgomery challenges two Duke defenders and draws the foul. This one will go against the freshman, Jasmine Thomas. It'll be her second.
UConn pushing in transition already, 7 points off turnover and a chance to get more here with Renee Montgomery. But Gino Auriemma saying we're a fast-breaking team. That's what we do. We love to push in transition. And you've seen it. You know, they're all 5 players running in unison. And since they've been passing so well, everybody runs even harder because they know they'll be rewarded by their teammates by sprinting out ahead.
Mel Thomas out of the Connecticut lineup along with Kylie McLaren into the game for UConn. Tina Charles returns, and our first appearance tonight of Sharday Houston. And a free throw good for Renee Montgomery. Big first half for Renee. She has 8 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Brittany Mitch working against Montgomery. Down low, Karim Gay. All the way back out to Mitch. Duke will reset.
Well, I know Abby Wayner has had the injury, but they've got to try to find a way to get her some shots. Kalena Green playing some great defense on her right now.
Karim Gay inside. Houston hit the deck on the spin, and Kalena Green is going to pick up the foul. First foul on Kalena Green.
Well, Karim Gay had surgery on her right shoulder right after Duke's season last year, March 30th, and it's her second straight offseason that she's had shoulder surgery. The year before, it was on her left shoulder. So getting that cleaned up, and she has such a great wingspan and explosiveness and versatility, and just a very important player for this Duke team as they've transitioned from the Gail Gestencourt's era, and now as they are establishing their new identity with Joanne P. McCauley. I think Karim Gay, a very important part of that.
Absolutely. Both free throws good for Gay, who now has 4 points for the Blue Devils. Still a 14-point Connecticut advantage. Sharday Houston fouled in the post. That'll go against Keturah Jackson.
Sharday Houston only played 3 minutes the other night against Old Dominion. In those 3 minutes had 3 turnovers. So Gino Auriemma with much higher expectations, obviously, than that from Houston, and picks up a foul there, but they've got to get her into some scoring, and she needs to rebound, get out there and assert herself as a rebounder.
Good defense that time by Duke. Forced the walk from Tina Charles. 8:20 to go in the first half. Duke trailing by 14. Keturah Jackson with the ball. Gives it to Brittany Mitch. Now down low, Shantae Black. Looking to make her move. Stripped away by Maya Moore and stolen by Tina Charles. Moore up ahead. Lob for Sharday Houston, who puts it in all in one motion.
And we saw Maya Moore be the recipient of that type of pass the other night. That was a beautiful pass to set up Sharday Houston. She didn't have any other choice than to just tip it up while she was up in the air. Great pass by Moore.
Shantae Black, the tough drive, and she was fouled. They'll count the basket, a chance for a three-point play.
Shantae Black has been relentless.
She becomes the first player in the game to double digits, but that Connecticut passing is putting on a show in St. Thomas. They lead by 14. Well, Duke and UConn renewing their rivalry. We mentioned before the opening tip that the last time these two teams met was back in the Elite Eight in 2006. A dramatic Duke overtime victory by 2. But that's not the only time that the Dukies have disappointed the Huskies.
Yeah, in the previous matchup, Jessica Foley hit the three-pointer at the buzzer for Duke to end the 69-game home court winning streak by the Connecticut Huskies. So maybe you got to think Connecticut a little extra incentive here. They need to get back at Duke.
Off the miss, Maya Moore's miss. She tries to steal it away, but cannot. Wanisha Smith brings it up. That was back on January 4th of 04. As a quick hoop the other way, Wanisha Smith scoring to get over the 1,000-point mark in her collegiate career. So congratulations to her.
04, the year that Connecticut won their third in a row, their third national championship in a row.
And another foul. This one on Duke. Still a double-digit deficit facing the Blue Devils here. Renee Montgomery having a spectacular first half on the line, looking for her 9th point. She's made both of her free throws so far tonight. Neither of these teams actually shooting free throws well yet on the season. Connecticut shooting 57%, only 59 for Duke. Houston and Charles out. McLaren and Thomas back in for the Huskies. Montgomery salvages 1 of 2. And now tries to put some pressure and is screened by Shantae Black. Emily Weiner trying to go by McLaren. Does, but can't get it down. Here come the Huskies the other way. They've got numbers. 4 on 3. Thomas spots up for 3. Well defended and closed out by Abby Weiner there. Looked like an open 3, but it was not by the time she released. Good move by Wanisha Smith. The drive and a blocking foul on Connecticut's Maya Moore.
You know, and that's the kind of shot that Wanisha Smith is going to need to take, because she has that broken bone in her right hand, and Maya Moore comes over and gets awfully good position, but Smith attacking the basket instead of settling for the outside shot with that broken hand, going to the basket to draw the foul.
Well, we've got a conflicting report here. Our one stat monitor telling us that is the 3rd foul on Maya Moore, but the scoreboard showing only her 2nd. Right now, Brittany Hunter is coming up to take out Moore in any case. Hope to get that one cleared up for you. In any event, 29-13 is the Connecticut lead with 6:38 to play. Wanisha Smith, who just moments ago crossed the 1,000-point mark in her career in Duke. Kylie McLaren trying to rip it away from Abby Weiner. It's a held ball situation. Possession to Connecticut. And we are being told now that it is 2 fouls for Maya Moore. She will sit nonetheless. Little pressure here shown by Duke. Trailing by 13. Kalena Green gives to Brittany Hunter, way out beyond the arc. Little troubles handling the basketball here for the Huskies. Renee Montgomery down low. Kylie McLaren drops it in for a 15-point lead.
Duke is in a man, and 2 post players under the basket, overcommitted on the almost steal and got way out of position, leaving a player wide open under the basket for UConn. Just a miscommunication by the eager post defenders for Duke.
Karim Gay had it knocked back and then took it to the hole. A foul as Crystal Thomas went to the basket. It'll go against Renee Montgomery.
But Duke continuing to attack. But here's what I'm talking about on the other end of the court as Renee. Nope, we got the play here inside for Duke as they pass inside, and a good teamwork, good passing of the basketball for Duke.
Wanisha Smith and Emily Weiner come out of the Duke lineup. Brittany Mitch back in, along with Bridgette Mitchell for the first time now. 11 players already being used by Joanne P. McCauley. Only 12 on her roster. Karima Christmas will be next at some point. Connecticut patient against the pressure. Stripped away. Karim Gay knocked it away from Hunter. Emily Weiner spins against Hunter. Lays it up but won't go. Crystal Thomas the rebound. Lost the handle. Bridgette Mitchell. And a blocking foul against Connecticut. It'll go against Renee Montgomery. Montgomery's picked up a couple quick ones. That's her second.
Well, Duke is drawing some fouls from Connecticut because of their aggressive play. They've gotten more aggressive, taking the ball to the basket. We heard Joanne P. McCauley in the interview before the game talking about, I want to be more physical. And they're forcing UConn to commit some fouls because of their aggressive play.
Another missed free throw for Duke, but they get the offensive rebound. Karim Gay down low.
Double dribble.
Double dribble.
Tried to execute the pick and roll, but Gay just couldn't get control of the basketball.
So another turnover for Duke. They now have 7. Already they've led to 11 Connecticut points. Montgomery. Offensive foul. Karim Gay stepped in, and now Montgomery's in trouble. She's got 3. The officials talk it over. A little conversation between Denise Brooks-Clauser and Angelica Suffern. And Suffern's call will stand. UConn fans show their displeasure.
You know, it's a little different look now as Duke has switched to the man-to-man over the last several possessions, and it's taken UConn out of a rhythm. They were doing very well against that matchup zone, and they've got the floor spread, and that time Karim Gay just did a nice job stepping over and drawing the charge. She was in great defensive position.
Gay misses the turnaround, but strips it away from Soigné. Right in front of Gino Auriemma, and a very displeased look on his face. You can understand why. Now 7 turnovers apiece. Bridgette Mitchell. Hands to Abby Weiner. Mitchell for 3. Rattles it down, and it's back to an 11-point game.
Boy, Mitchell only 1 of 4 from three-point range on the year. That's a big bucket for her.
High post, Brittany Hunter. Hands for Thomas. Stop and pop. Rebound, Weiner. Duke is pushing the pace here. A no-look pass for Crystal Thomas. The problem is for Abby Weiner is the no-look was from the person who was trying to receive it. Crystal Thomas didn't know it was coming.
Thomas was running the floor hard down the middle. 6'4" freshman out ahead, but just wasn't expecting it, wasn't looking at the ball handler. Abby Weiner recognizing that Thomas had her defender beat.
Well, Abby Weiner, playing her first game in 4 games after the ankle injury, has yet to score, has missed all 4 of her shots. Kalena Green into the lane and back out. Hands for Thomas. They bump into one another. Here's Soigné off the McLaren screen. Duke's defense is looking really solid here in the latter portions of the first half. They still, however, trail by double digits at the hands of the number 2 ranked Huskies of UConn. The UConn men's basketball team will travel to St. Thomas next season for the 2008 Paradise Jam. Basketball Travelers is putting together exclusive fan packages at the Team Hotel in Paradise. Contact Basketball Travelers at paradisejam.com or call 425-776-2775 to reserve your package today. A lot of UConn fans have made it down from Connecticut. 2 full sections plus, and have represented the Huskies very well down here at the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. And so have their Huskies, by the way, looking very good, but only had a few seconds when they inbounded there, and a backcourt violation. Brenda, this Duke defense is starting to pick things up.
Well, they have, and just that shift from the matchup zone to man-to-man, and you have to take a look at should Duke have come out in a man-to-man, but I think that UConn had the success and felt the success against the matchup, and now the change has really taken them out of a rhythm.
Crystal Thomas on the baseline, couldn't get around McLaren and stepped out of bounds. 8th turnover for the Blue Devils. Each team been turning it over a bit. Duke certainly wants to take care of the basketball. Mel Thomas gets it off inside. Kylie McLaren continues to play well. Back-to-back games for her. She has been a big factor for the Huskies after not even playing in that first game against Stanford.
And when you do play man-to-man against UConn, they do that. They do that so well. The backdoor cuts, they open up the floor, they space it, and make backdoor cuts.
A travel on Bridgette Mitchell. So the Blue Devils turn it over for a 9th time.
Yeah, and back-to-back possessions right out of the media timeout. They gained some momentum. Their defense is playing much better. They've been more aggressive offensively, but those 2 turnovers coming out of the media timeout just kills their momentum.
Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play. In the first half, Kalena Green gives it off to Thomas. Now it's McLaren at the high post. Nice entry for Tina Charles in traffic. And she draws the foul. It's going to go against Duke's Crystal Thomas. First foul on Crystal Thomas will send Charles to the line.
On the high-low pass, and Charles trying to get in, and from behind gets knocked on the head. Gino Auriemma wants to see Tina Charles being aggressive with her moves in there, and she had one-on-one. If there's not a help defender coming, he wants her to go strong to the basket, and she was on her way when she got the foul.
Charles trying to make it a 15-point Connecticut advantage, and she does. Got them both.
Tina Charles, the Big East Freshman of the Year last year.
Jasmine Thomas setting the offense now for Duke. Keisha Soigné on her. Another quick-on-quick challenge, and for the second time, Thomas is quicker. And a second blocking foul on Keisha Soigné.
Jasmine Thomas and Crystal Thomas for Duke played on the same USA Basketball U19 team with Maya Moore, and the quick crossover, and again Soigné just doesn't quite get there. Jasmine Thomas is incredibly quick, and you know, that's where if you can't get there, you rely on your help defenders to come over to try to pick up the charge, and Soigné just couldn't get there quickly enough.
Well, Brenda, we talk about Connecticut's depth and their depth at quick point guard as well. Right now, Soigné and Montgomery each have 3 first-half fouls. Soigné will remain in the game and bring it up with a 14-point lead. Quick trap thrown out by the Blue Devils.
No.
Tipped ball, but somehow it ended up in the hands of Charles. Kalena Green sees no numbers. Whips it out. Right back inside. Kylie McLaren, the quick post move. And the Huskies are back up 16. Under 2 minutes to go in the half.
That is a huge break for Connecticut because it was a great, quick, surprising trap by Duke, and they couldn't get the turnover.
Instead, Duke turns it over on their next possession. Backdoor bounce for Thomas, working on the baseline. Gets it back in the corner, fakes down low for Charles. In traffic, blocked by Black, but a foul.
Another good, strong, aggressive move by Tina Charles. Now, Mel Thomas's defender came in to help out. She could have kicked out for the 3-point shot, but again, I think Gino Auriemma very pleased when Tina Charles shows that aggressive, dominating attitude in there on the block.
And the foul went on Karim Gay. That is her second. She will check out now, replaced by Crystal Thomas. Connecticut 7 of 11 from the free throw line and make it 8 of 12. Jasmine Thomas brings it up for Duke. Down 17. Actually, Gay staying in the game. And a moving screen on Duke. Abby Wayner will pick it up.
Abby Wayner was trying to set the screen on Mel Thomas, who was trying to get around. Wayner gets called for the foul. That could have gone either way, I think, but Wayner just moving to set the screen.
Tina Charles gets it out for Soigné, continuing to play with those 3 fouls. Gets into the lane, lost the handle. Here's Wanisha Smith. There's numbers for Duke. 4 on 3. Hesitation move, Smith. Blocked straight up by Kalena Green.
Anisha Smith, one of the returning starters for Duke. But with that broken hand, it limits her. She had the opportunity to go left, but still just couldn't even gather the basketball. A terrific block by Green.
A miss on the drive by Abby Wayner. She and Soigné tumble out of bounds. It will stay with Duke with 53.4 seconds left in the half. Floor mop-up completed. Now Jasmine Thomas will inbound. All the way out for Shantae Black. Only player in double digits in the game with 10. Abby Wayner. Jasmine Thomas buries the 3 with 42 seconds left.
Beautiful jumper by Thomas. She is just one of those players. As she gets more and more experience on the collegiate level, she is going to be a superstar. She has so many tools, so many skills for this Duke squad.
Soigné hesitation move.
Oh.
Blocked by Black on the help out. Still 13 on the shot clock. Emily Wayner coming back in for sister Abby.
Well, Duke doesn't have Allison Bales inside to block the shots, but Shantae Black showing that she is quite capable in the shot blocking category.
That she is. She's already shown us that skill tonight. First block of the game, averaging almost 2 per game on the season.
Well, Connecticut trying to be aggressive. Soigné's gotten herself into trouble penetrating too deep without somewhere to go a couple of times this game. And Black comes over and says, oh no, not in this lane this time.
Yes, looking over after a couple of those overly aggressive forays into the lane by Soigné. Gina Wariema was communicating much the same thing to her there.
Well, it's one of those things. Soigné, an incredible change of pace guard, and she is so quick and brings so much defensively. Great ball handler, but sometimes not always the best decisions when it comes to getting in the lane, and sometimes doesn't know where she's going and just drives in and needs to have a better awareness and either kick out or make better decisions when she makes those drives.
There's a nice decision by Thomas to drop it in to Charles for the turnaround. 12 seconds left, a 16-point Connecticut lead. Jasmine Thomas into the lane and the pull-up. Rebound Charles. 3 seconds left, still time for the Huskies. Mel Thomas from midcourt on the run, and that'll do it for the first half of play in St. Thomas. A standing ovation from the Connecticut faithful who've made the trip down from the Nutmeg State. What a performance by the Huskies. A 16-point lead over Duke at the half.
UConn with that high percentage of points because of the number of points that they get in the paint.
Well, as we mentioned just before, we ended our halftime report. The worst halftime deficit that Duke has had recently, before this one, 35-18. That was at UConn at the Hartford Civic Center on January 3rd of 2004. But it set the stage for a dramatic come-from-behind victory for the Blue Devils 68-67 on the buzzer beater by Jessica Foley, and of course snapping that 69-game home winning streak for Connecticut. I'm sure that's not in any of their minds right now, but it's the kind of thing that we talk about on TV.
That's right. Well, anything is possible. I think that's the moral of that story.
Mel Thomas starts the second half with already 8 assists, which ties her career high. That against George Mason back in December of 2004. How many is she going to get tonight? We'll have to see. Brittany Mitch with a catch and shoot. And the battle for the rebound will go over to Connecticut.
Well, not only is Mel Thomas, she has the 8 assists tonight. She's a terrific three-point shooter. And right now, she has the defensive assignment on Abby Wayner.
And a foul on Duke, pressuring out near midcourt.
You know, and Mel Thomas probably doesn't get enough credit for her defense, but she is one of the most competitive people on this team, says Gino Ariema. She hustles, she dives after loose balls, and she is a tremendous three-point shooter, but she brings so many other things to the court.
Kalena Green to inbound right at midcourt. 2 bigs out high for the moment for Connecticut. Playing a little catch. Tina Charles gives to Montgomery, starting the second half with the 3 fouls. Right into Brittany Hunter. Hunter kicks it out for Montgomery. Montgomery hangs in the lane, and Black can't control the rebound. Brittany Hunter is able to track it down. Shot clock still going now. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Does Thomas know it? Now she does, and fires up an off-balance 3. Doesn't draw iron, and there is a shot clock violation.
It was good hustle by Brittany Hunter to track down that offensive board at 6'4", and the knee problems that she has. She's still so explosive and moves so well, but they couldn't take advantage.
Abby Wayner off the dribble, sets up Wanisha Smith. Back to Wayner. Quick ball movement by Duke. Black in a post up, looking for the turnaround. Good defense by Hunter. Still 9 on the shot clock. Repost for Black. And a travel. And a smiling Brittany Hunter clapping on the way back.
Well, Hunter just kept being physical, and when Shante Black gave it up, Hunter pushed her out a little farther on the block, got her a little farther away from the basket, using her physical nature to try to get Black farther from the basket.
Brittany Hunter, a promising Duke freshman in the 03-04 season. Had a knee injury, transferred, a couple of surgeries. Of course, had to sit the 04-05 season, and has really been a spot duty player for Gino Ariema, though this is now 3 games in 4 days that Brittany has played a significant amount of.
And with those knee problems, she typically doesn't do that. She'll have to sit out for swelling in her knee. She won't practice from time to time. She is looking great tonight.
Renee Montgomery found her with great position down low, and Hunter drops it in. She's got 3 points and 3 rebounds on the night. Abby Wayner drives and kicks. Joy Cheek from the free throw line buries it. But still a 16-point UConn advantage.
And Joy Cheek was one of those players that had started the last game against Temple. So just another player that has rotated in different circumstances for Duke.
That time Montgomery couldn't find Hunter. Mitch splitting 2 defenders, and a foul, and she goes tumbling into a chair beyond the basket.
Both teams trying to push the tempo, and Mel Thomas trying to stop the fast break before she can get it up in the air. Good concentration by Brittany Mitch to just, at 6'2", she's a point guard, handles the ball so well, and able to keep her composure, but misses that first free throw.
Second foul on Kalena Green.
You know, Brittany Mitch is one of those players who's found new life with the new coaching staff. Really was not getting a lot of playing time under Gail Gestencourse and her coaching staff, and so felt like this was a new opportunity to prove herself, and the fact that she's getting to play some point guard and getting some significant minutes, just taking advantage of her opportunity.
Connecticut trying to break pressure. They got it to the middle, and now will set up. Kalena Green.
Back to the zone look.
Catch and shoot from Montgomery. Back iron. Rebound to Joy Cheek. Jasmine Thomas into the game to run the point. Wanisha Smith. Now Cheek on top. Swings it over to Brittany Mitch. Looking for Black in the post, but she's got no position. Brittany Hunter forcing her away from where she wants to be. Thomas nearly stole it from Jasmine Thomas, but it wound up in the hands of Smith. Charles the rebound.
Boy, Smith is so valuable for Duke in so many ways, but with that broken bone in her hand, it's just so difficult for her to shoot the basketball.
Inside, Brittany Hunter. Two players around her. A blocking foul on Brittany Mitch.
Brittany Hunter with a lot of smiles right now. She is being physical defensively on Black on the other end. And here, great post-up position, good seal. She releases as the ball is over, and Brittany Mitch does not give her time to come down. It's a good thought by Mitch to try to slide in there, but did not give Hunter room to come down.
First foul on Mitch, third on the team. About 3.5 minutes in to the second half. Hunter had it stripped away, but Montgomery got it. Fouled from behind by Shantae Black. That'll be her second.
Well, that's one of those examples of when you keep moving, good things are going to happen. Renee Montgomery just kept moving. The ball had been bumped out of Hunter's hand, but Montgomery with the quick hustle play able to attack and draw the foul.
First free throw good for Montgomery. Becomes the first Connecticut player in this game to double digits with 10. Brittany Mitch checks out. Emily Weiner replacing her in the Blue Devil lineup. Montgomery can't hit the second. Rebound, Shantae Black. Emily Weiner calling out the play. Pounded by Thomas.
It's Tina Charles now against Black, and Black gets around her.
Oh, Shantae Black just happy to see that it wasn't Brittany Hunter out there.
Exactly.
Hunter has given her major fits here in the first 4 minutes of the second half. Helena Green, beautiful jump stop, pump fake, banks it in.
She does that so well, and she is such a good defender.
Shantae Black running the floor, the tallest player out there at 6'5", beat everyone down, and it's a 14-point deficit.
You got to think it's one of those situations she's tired of banging. She's just going to run the floor and try to get out in front of the defenders.
She's got 14 points, lead everybody. Stepping out beyond the free throw line, Brittany Hunter just brimming with confidence right now.
You know, and just keep in mind, Brittany Hunter started her career at Duke, and that's where she got that knee injury before transferring to UConn.
Jasmine Thomas the drive. Rebound, Helena Green. Every time Duke gets a little bump, UConn answers. By the way, Tina Charles has just kicked her left shoe into the stands. It was falling off. I don't know if she kicked it on purpose or whether it's ripped, but Jackie Fernandez runs over to get it off the Connecticut bench. Right now, Tina Charles playing with no shoe.
One shoe on, one shoe off.
And an air ball by Jasmine Thomas, and that will help out Connecticut. They can get the clock stopped and get the footwear back on the feet of Tina Charles, but it's all going Connecticut's way. An 18-point lead.
It was
49-31, Connecticut, the number 2 team in the nation, facing number 9 Duke at the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam championship game for 2008. Moments ago, Tina Charles coming down the floor, left side of your screen. Her shoe is half off, so she just says, you know what? Let me just get rid of that. She kicked it in the first row and went up and down the court once before the clock stopped. I don't think I've seen that. Quick ball movement to break the pressure. Maya Moore back into the game for Connecticut. A little bit of a quiet game here, though she had 2 outstanding games in the first 2. Pass was knocked away and stolen by Duke. Emily Weiner firing inside off the hands of Crystal Thomas. And another Duke turnover, their 14th. Connecticut has managed 18 points off those Duke turnovers so far and perhaps more to come. A foul and a post-up as Crystal Thomas fouled Tina Charles. And Kalena Green going to inbound. Renee Montgomery gives to Mel Thomas. Now over on the far side. Thomas gets it back, enters down low. Quick hands by Bridgette Mitchell, but a foul will be whistled.
Now Mitchell tried to bring the double team, and actually Tina Charles was already looking to make her move, almost got the ball stripped, but the officials called Mitchell for the foul. Nice cut.
Tina Charles can't lay it in off a nice feed. Abby Weiner the other way. Weiner still without a basket in this game, 0 for 5 from the field, and a foul out front. Mel Thomas will pick it up. That's her first.
You know, Abby Weiner has only played in one game this year. She went back to Denver, Colorado, not very far from her hometown, her and her sister Emily's hometown of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. But that was the only game she got to play in, as she sprained her ankle in a practice after that, and it was out for 4 games and just hasn't gotten back into a rhythm offensively. She's working hard. She's playing good defense. She's moving well without the basketball, but hasn't scored yet.
Side of the backboard for Duke there, and an 18-point deficit remains at 13:50 to play. Kylie McLaren into the game at the high post, gives it to Mel Thomas. Can't get the roll. McLaren, though, hit the boards and tipped it back out. Fresh 30. Maya Moore won't need it. Takes it all the way to the hole and lays it in.
Anytime there's some sort of a gap, Maya Moore going to be aggressive. She's worked so well without the basketball, that time showing her talent with the ball and creating. Now you cannot give Connecticut second chance opportunities, and here they are able to get it. And then Maya Moore, there's a gap in the defense. Nobody steps over in help side position. Moore turns the corner and gets the bucket.
A 20-point Connecticut advantage. Crystal Thomas, now Jasmine Thomas. Inside, Cheek had to kick it out. Jasmine Thomas firing away. Offensive rebound to Duke. That's Karima Christmas in for her first action. All 12 players on the Duke roster have now played. And Karima Christmas with 15 to 20 extended family members from the St. Thomas, St. Croix area in attendance. Lauren Dixon into the game. Shares a little chuckle with Renee Montgomery. Seemed like Montgomery was saying, okay, Lauren, take a deep breath and exhale. That's my interpretation of the conversation. Maya Moore at the high post. Quick hands by Joy Cheek. Poked it free, but Moore still has it.
Well, Dixon, the only representative from Christ the King on the court right now, although 2 of her former teammates, of course, playing tonight as well.
Jasmine Thomas blocked the shot by Dixon and now brings it the other way. Abby Weiner spinning against Dixon, and Thomas sets up Jasmine Thomas. That 3 won't go. Thomas tips it out but can't track it down.
And the Husky faithful in attendance always appreciate Mel Thomas and the hustle she brings to the court.
The 2 Thomases for Duke share the ball out front. Now it's Jasmine to initiate the offense. Christmas drops it in. Quick ball movement outside. Maya Moore blocked the shot by Cheek. And then a partial block by Kylie McLaren. The UConn defense closing out very nicely. The Huskies with a 51-31 lead in St. Thomas, looking to take the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam final. The UConn men's basketball team will travel to St. Thomas next season for the 2008 Paradise Jam. Basketball Travelers is putting together exclusive fan packages at the Team Hotel in Paradise. Contact Basketball Travelers at paradisejam.com or call 425-776-2775 and reserve your package today.
Well, it's an incredible week and a half of basketball. The men's tournament first, then the women's tournament. And the women's tournament always drawing some of the top teams in the country. We've seen 4 teams in the top 10 in this year's tournament.
Absolutely. There, Crystal Thomas with the offensive foul drawn by Mel Thomas. And the crowds, as you could see, are very strong here at the University of the Virgin Islands. There's a great passion in the Virgin Islands for basketball, as many of you out there know. Not that Tim Duncan is the only reason, but there is plenty of pride here in the islands in their basketball, and they come out in droves to support the tournament.
Well, the Paradise Jam has been here for 8 years, and it's become the second biggest event on the island besides Carnival. And the locals come out in force to support it, but also a lot of people travel here, and it's a tremendous event. As I mentioned, UConn, Stanford, Duke, and Texas A&M all in the top 10 this year in this tournament. Year after year, great teams are here. Basketball Travelers does a terrific job of hosting this event, making it a very special experience for the players, the coaches, the fans, and everyone involved, not only here on the court, but away at the hotel and catamaran excursions and other things like that. And it's just a tremendous basketball and otherwise experience.
Can't beat it when it's cold up north. You got some hot basketball action down in the islands, and that's what we have certainly had. Although right now, Connecticut looking to really assert itself as by far the most dominant team down here in St. Thomas. Abby Wayner continues her cold night with that miss. Mel Thomas battling to keep it alive and could not. And gets a little help from Lauren Dixon off the floor. Mel Thomas will soon be crossing the 1,000-point plateau. Not going to happen tonight. Only a couple games away. She's just stretching out there. She went down awkwardly. Right now, Tina Charles will come in to replace her in the Connecticut lineup with 11:16 to play and a 22-point advantage. Now, UConn's got 53 points. Only one player in double digits. Now they're running the floor. Dixon misfired on the way to Montgomery. Karim Gay takes it down and lays it in. Now Duke will pressure. Dixon blows right by it. Ahead to Maya Moore. Oh yeah! Count the basket. She flipped it in behind her head. She'll have a chance for a three-point play.
Unbelievably athletic play. She catches the ball in stride, doesn't even put it on the floor, and still able to protect, get it off the backboard, score, finish the basket, and draw the foul.
Well, she was having a fairly quiet game until then. Now she's got 10 to go along with Renee Montgomery's 10 points.
The consensus high school player of the year last year. And just, she can come in, and Gino Ariema says she's the best 2 player, the best 3 player, and the best 4 player on our team. So when she comes off the bench, he inserts her where he needs her in the lineup. And because she is so versatile, so multi-talented, she can help this Connecticut team in so many different ways.
And we are seeing it now through less than 5 games into the Maya Moore era. And there's a Moore block. Duke recovers for the moment. Karima Christmas, the baseline drive. Blocked by Tina Charles. 2 blocks on 1 trip for Connecticut. Karim Gay, though, ties up Renee Montgomery. It will remain Connecticut ball, though. They own the possession arrow.
And I mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again now because all 3 players on the floor, Karim Gay for Duke and Tina Charles and Lauren Dixon for Connecticut, all 3 played on the same high school team, Christ the King High School, and won back-to-back national championships. The USA Today national champions, all 3 are on the court right now.
Renee Montgomery couldn't hit in traffic, but it was another great delivery from on top by Kylie McLaren. And that ball thrown away by Abby Wayner. Really nobody open for Wayner to find there. A very frustrating return to the lineup for Abby Wayner. 16 points in the opener. An ankle injury forced her to miss 4 straight games, including the first 2 of this tournament. Came back to start tonight, and it will sit now with an 0 for 7 night. She does have 4 assists, but a frustrating night for her and her Blue Devil teammates.
Well, those numbers will certainly change over the course of the year. And, you know, everybody in this Duke program still learning. I mean, this is a major transition when you talk about a coach and a team, and Gail Gestencourse and Duke, that we're so tied with one another and so much success. When you bring in a new coach and then you graduate 2 terrific players in Lindsey Harding and Allison Bales, that there's just still a lot of learning to do. And Joanne P. McCauley just talked about the fact that we're a work in progress, and we're going to be much better in March than we are in November.
I don't doubt that at all, with the number of players they have and the tough defensive mindset that they have. Scramble on the floor for it, and this tie-up will go over to Duke. You know, they need to get healthier. Yes, Abby Wayner has played and started tonight, and, you know, didn't show any obvious signs of ankle injury, but she has missed 4 games in a row. We've talked about Winesha Smith with playing with one hand. And also, you know, they lost all of those key players. They're trying to find out who they are, but they will have a tough ACC test throughout the year to find out how good they are or how good they can be.
Well, and Shantae Black, that goes up with that shot, didn't play at all last year. So playing herself back into game shape and doing it very well.
Right now, Black with 14 points. It leads everybody. Connecticut turnover here. Emily Wayner goes down for Shantae Black. Spinning baseline, well defended. Somehow got it up and in, though, for her 15th and 16th points.
She's got that little stutter. She keeps her pivot foot down, but she does a lot of movement and pivoting until she gets just in the right position. She really got Charles under the basket and put up a pretty good shot.
More, the great bounce pass on the back cut. Kalena Green lays it in.
Again, Maya Moore just brings so much to the court. When she's not moving without the ball and receiving the pass, she's making the pass or defending and blocking a shot or getting a rebound.
Karim Gay, the drive and kick, but an offensive foul. Brenda, guess who stepped in on that?
I was going to say, or drawing a charge. How about that?
Which she does for the 2nd time tonight.
You know, and the body that this freshman has, she has the body of an upperclassman, and after the work she'll do in the weight room over the next couple of years, beautiful position there to draw the charge. I mean, I can't imagine what she's going to look like in a couple of years.
You saw it from the referee's eyes almost. Great angle on that and a fine call. Maya Moore, she does the spectacular, Brenda, but she also does the ordinary extraordinarily well.
Yeah. And so humble about it, and such a team player.
Kalena Green, baseline drive, out for Moore. One bounce and pull up. Just beat the shot clock, and a putback from Tina Charles.
Tina Charles got up for that offensive rebound.
A 60-35 Connecticut advantage. Bridgette Mitchell. Step back jumper on Thomas and hits. Soignier will set up the offense. What will they do next? Maya Moore left alone for 3. Fakes it, drives and dishes. Kalena Green inside, she traveled. Joy Cheek ready to come in for Duke. They're looking for answers against a spectacular performance by the Connecticut Huskies at the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. (60-37), Connecticut over Duke in the championship game of the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. Both teams ranked in the top 10, and Connecticut really distancing themselves. You know, Brenda, last season, in the regular season, both these teams went undefeated in conference play, which is an impressive feat in itself. What do you think it looks like this year?
Yeah, and both teams get 32 wins on the year, but both end with disappointing losses. But Connecticut #1 in the Big East. Rutgers just got a nice win over LSU today, but I still think Connecticut out there in front as the favorite. Duke going to be in there, of course, again with North Carolina or Maryland. Maryland looking very tough right now.
Inside for Shante Black. Really the only bright spot today for Duke has been Shante Black. Bridgette Mitchell drives into a whole lot of trouble, but they will keep the ball, will Duke, out of bounds underneath. Emily Wayner inbounds to Mitchell. Nice move to get free, but can't finish it. Tina Charles the rebound. That's her 8th, just short of a double-double. Right now, 9 points and 8 rebounds. Inside Charles. Well, there's the first part of the double-double. 11 points.
Great inside position by Tina Charles on Shante Black, but an excellent pass by Kalena Green.
Shante Black at the high post. Emily Wayner all the way across Mitchell. Kalena Green hounding her. Katura Jackson the drive into traffic. Another offensive foul. By my count, that's 3. Maya Moore step in to draw the charge.
I'm not really sure that Maya Moore tried to draw that charge. I think Jackson was there so quickly, she just ran her over.
Let's see.
Here's Moore. Yes, she does step in to take it. Good help defense.
Well, coaches chart those things. They don't keep them as part of the official stats, but my unofficial counts, 3 charges drawn by Maya Moore.
Hey, we're on the islands. Unofficial's okay here, right?
Everything's unofficial on the island, I think. Mel Thomas drives and kicks. This is Kalena Green now into the lane. In traffic, puts it up and in.
And hung in the air up over the 6'5" Shante Black.
Becomes the 4th Connecticut player in double digits. Charles leads the way with 11 as Joy Cheek works it underneath to bank it home. And then 3 players with 10, Montgomery, Moore, and now Kalena Green. Huskies shooting 57% for the game. Maya Moore trying to post inside, but it was thrown a bit wide by Kalena Green. Kylie McLaren coming in off the bench for Connecticut as Tina Charles steps out. It appears Tina Charles may end up short of that double-double unless for some reason she's put back in. 11 points, 8 rebounds on the night for Tina Charles, made 4 of her 6 shots. Maya Moore also checking out. That is Mel Thomas took a shot as she got that rebound. And Duke has been in the double bonus, and 2 free throws will be coming for Connecticut.
Well, and Mitchell draws that foul, and she actually took boxing lessons for 6 weeks over the summer. I'm not insinuating that she was doing any boxing there, but I just think that's fascinating that a basketball player would use that for conditioning, for footwork, and that's impressive that Mitchell did that over this past summer.
Mel Thomas hits the free throw. Hadn't taken a free throw all season until tonight. Not the first one there. Only 5 points for Mel Thomas, but does have 5 rebounds in those 8 first-half assists. Shante Black beat everyone down but couldn't lay it over. Kalena Green in traffic. Traveled. It'll be Duke ball underneath. Trailing 66-39, coming up on 5 minutes left. Bridgette Mitchell, helped by Sharday Houston. Sharday has not made an impact on this game, has spent most of it on the bench. Emily Wayner down low. And Kylie McLaren will be called for the foul as she bumped Crystal Thomas. Kylie McLaren done an incredible job with her conditioning over the off season to lose a lot of weight that both she and the coaching staff knew she had to do, and has been quite effective in her time.
Emily Weiner got that three-pointer off a nice inbounds execution.
Steal by Bridgette Mitchell. Gino, even with the big lead, Auriemma very upset with that last possession.
He was not very happy at practice today. Just really drilling down on specific aspects of the game that he was not pleased with, and certain players he was not pleased with, and let him have it.
He's
today.
not going to like that. Emily Weiner picks the pocket of Mel Thomas and lays it in. It's a 20-point game coming up on the 4-minute mark. Sharday Houston up ahead, Montgomery behind the back to relieve pressure. Now the Huskies will set up. A couple of poor trips down the floor for Connecticut, who otherwise had played almost flawlessly. And Gino Auriemma, with a timeout coming on the next dead ball, decides to call a timeout on his own with a 20-point lead. Definitely coaching for the future at the moment with a 20-point lead over Duke. Welcome back to the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam Women's Championship game in Connecticut with a 20-point advantage, but they've had a few bad trips, have given up a few hoops in a row, turn it over a bunch. Gino Auriemma electing to call a timeout to straighten things out.
And not surprising in a way, because nobody was getting open, and as you mentioned, they'd thrown it away or turned it over the last two times, and he wanted to get things in working order.
Duke playing with a lot of intensity at the moment, and a 3 at the shot clock buzzer falls away by McLaren. Karina Christmas driving and running over Mel Thomas. Stepped in to draw charge. Connecticut getting position tonight. And with 3:24 to play, Connecticut continues to hold that 20-point advantage over Duke. Well, we have lost some of the lighting at the Sports and Fitness Center on the campus of the University of Virgin Islands. It's basically the 2 rows of light that go across the court nearest midcourt. So we're looking at probably losing 2 out of 6 rows of lighting.
Well, but the lights are on over the baskets.
Yes.
So the most important lights, it's going to be difficult for our viewers on TV overall, but the lights around the basket are on.
And Montgomery under extreme pressure, as was Maya Moore, who was fouled by Bridgette Mitchell. They have elected to keep playing, and probably the right call here. There's plenty of visibility, as you said, over the baskets. And only about 3 more minutes to play. Maya Moore to the free throw line. And she's got the first. Moore now with 11. Currently tied with Tina Charles for UConn High. They've had a very balanced attack. And now with 12 to lead them. Leading scorer in the game is Shantae Black as Duke turns it over. Down by 22. Duke has continued to play very aggressively and physically, even though they've been down by as many as 25 here late. Quickly across for Connecticut. Montgomery into the lane. How about that shot? Rebound Moore. It's actually her first rebound of the game. She's done a little bit about just about everything else. Charles down low. Great position. And banks it in.
Maya Moore playing the 3 position. Earlier she was playing the 4 position. A nice job feeding Tina Charles, who went strong one-on-one.
Lauren Dixon is up off the Connecticut bench, getting ready to come in at the next whistle. Emily Weiner enters down low. Joy Cheek trying to operate on Tina Charles. Straight up, good defense.
Well, I think this game gives Joanne P. McCauley, an opportunity to see her team play against the best. I mean, UConn will vie for a national title this year, and a lot of people would love to see that Tennessee-UConn matchup before the tournament, but that's not going to happen this year. So you've got those two teams. You've got Maryland. You've got some excellent teams in the top 10, but Duke, playing in the highly competitive ACC, needs to see this kind of competition now to get ready for conference play.
22nd turnover for Connecticut and a travel on Crystal Thomas, and it may give something for Gino Auriemma to coach. Said, yeah, they got 20-point victories over a couple of teams, a 43-point victory as well here at the tournament. You could say, hey, turn it over 22 times tonight. I don't care if you won the Paradise Jam Championship. He will certainly have plenty of fodder to work on the team with.
Well, there's no doubt about it. All coaches can find things to improve upon, and this team has been exceptional in the Paradise Jam, but at this time in the season, there are always things that can be improved upon.
Megan Gardler passes to Tahira Williams, getting their second night of action in as many games. Mel Thomas off the hesitation move. Nowhere to go, and she'll be blocked by Crystal Thomas as the shot clock expires.
Crystal Thomas having none of that for Mel Thomas. Crystal Thomas wears a size 14 shoe. That might even be bigger than yours, isn't it?
Much. 11, since you asked.
Yeah.
Emily Weiner operating out front, coming up on 1 minute left. Strong move to the basket. Christmas cannot finish it off. Tahira Williams the rebound. Going to bring it up herself. Now kicks it over to Lauren Dixon. Mel Thomas to Williams. Connecticut continues to run that offense, even here in the final moments. And Tahira Williams, offensive rebound and gets fouled. She had 4 points and 2 rebounds in about 5 minutes of action late in that Old Dominion game.
Tahira Williams worked very hard on the scout team today at practice, and as I mentioned earlier, Gino giving them a rough practice, a shoot around that was scheduled to go for an hour, went for about an hour and 45 minutes, and Tahira Williams, one of those players on the scout team that played almost the entire time, so that the first teamers and their subs could get some work.
Mel Thomas checks out with 5 points, 5 rebounds, and a tying of a career high 8 assists on the night. Also drew a couple of charges. Her night is over. And into the game, Cassie Kearns for Connecticut. There really is no emptying of the bench for Duke, because they have 12 players they can't figure out who to play, because they've got so many of equal ability with different strengths. Final 30 seconds. 72-48 Connecticut, and the Husky fans raise up in appreciation for what they've seen down in St. Thomas. Nine on the shot clock, about 2 more on the game clock. Dixon guarded by Christmas, and a foul on Karima Christmas with 4.1 seconds left in the game. So Connecticut will move their record to 5-0 while delivering Duke their first loss in their first 6 games. And everything right on schedule for the Huskies. Gino Auriemma knew he had that great returning starting 5, all average double digits a year ago. Adds Maya Moore to the mix, who is dubbed by everyone to be the next great one. And she has certainly shown that in St. Thomas, helping the Huskies to the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam Championship. 74-48 the final. And to say that the Huskies haven't been impressive down in Paradise may be an understatement. We'll take a little break right here and be back with the presentation from St. Thomas, Connecticut, the Paradise Jam champions. Well, The University of Connecticut winning 3 straight games in impressive fashion to become the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam champions for 2008. Let's go down to Monica Jonigan for the victory presentation.
Thanks, guys. And we are here with the 2007 Paradise Jam Women's Tournament champions, the UConn Huskies. A very excited bunch. Before we give the trophy presentation, we want to say congratulations to the Duke Blue Devils for a hard-fought game. Congratulations, ladies. And now for the championship presentation, Nels Hawkinson, the president of Basketball Travelers, giving the trophy to the UConn Huskies.
On behalf of the people from the U.S. Virgin Islands, we present to the UConn Huskies this brass cylinder attached to the front of your trophy is a replica of the Caribbean steel pan. This steel pan is a musical instrument indigenous to the Caribbean and a shared symbol of all the islands. This is from the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. UConn Huskies, you are our first place champions in the Paradise Jam 2007.
A very excited team. Now we'll talk with their coach, Coach Gino Ariyama, who has done very well with this team in this tournament this year. Coach, another outstanding performance from your squad, especially from Tina Charles, but you get contribution from everybody on this team. Talk about your effort in this tournament.
I think you know, if you're going to win a championship, if you're going to beat the teams you have to beat in this tournament, then you're not going to do it with just one player or 2 players. You know, you need everybody on your team to contribute. And I think all 3 games, it was a team championship, and we had a couple guys play really well on different nights. And, you know, somebody's probably not going to get a lot of attention. Mel Thomas played a great tournament. And, you know, Tina Charles played great. Kylie gave us some great minutes. Renee was spectacular that first half today. You know, our team won this championship, as it should be.
When you talk about the Paradise Jam Women's Tournament, we see the field is full of top team tournaments, top 10 tournaments in the nation, and we can see here that we might see this team again come March. What do you think about your chances this early?
There's a lot of basketball between now and March, and the team we played today, Duke, isn't going to be the same team, and we're not going to be the same team, and Stanford isn't. There's just a lot of great teams in women's basketball, and a bunch of them were right here, you know, this week, and we were just proud to be a part of it. We came down here for one reason, you know, and that's to win a championship. And the fact that we were able to do it here and have some fun and, you know, meet a lot of nice people, that's just frosting on the cake.
Well, congratulations, Coach, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
The UConn Huskies, 2007 champions of the Paradise Jam. Guys.
Well, thank you, Monica. An obviously excited group of UConn Huskies, and, you know, there's no doubt this has been a great experience for them going forward.
Well, and they wanted to measure where they are at this point in the season, and got a lot of great balance. They were able to push up and down the court. They played a top 10 or top 5 team in Stanford and a top 10 team in Duke, and I think they are in very good position right now. But as Gino said, everybody's going to be improving a lot through the season. Everybody will look a lot different in March.
Absolutely. Connecticut passed the test with flying colors, a 74-48 victory in the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam championship game for Brenda Van Langen and Monica Jonigan. I'm Mark Brown saying so long for our entire crew from St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam. Your 2008 Women's Champion, Connecticut, defeats Duke in the final 74-48.